thing. Okay, so I would like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of the audiences. Today, I think it's a very good that we have the first collaboration between IEEE Turkey Section Affinity Group, Thailand Section Affinity Group, and also a Hong Kong Section Affinity Group for the very important topics of the WIE and then the STEM educations. Yeah. So my name is Supavadee Aramvith, and I am representing Thailand section as the WIE Affinity Group chair. Yeah, and briefly, I have so many of the activities that involve both women in engineering. I also used to be a regional Region 10 WIE coordinator, I think with the same year as Simay. And then also I'm in with the IEEE Educational Activity Board. Currently I'm chairing the section education outreach committee. So I think my involvement also as a university professor at the Chulalongkorn University, Bangkok, Thailand, has evolved me a lot to this. And then I realized the importance of the women in supporting of the STEM education. So I think it's very good that we have this session today. So maybe next I would like to welcome Paulina to give a welcome from the Hong Kong section.
Thank you, Supavadee. I'm Paulina Chen on behalf of the IEEE Hong Kong section and the WIE Affinity Group. I'd like to welcome all of you to join us, this morning, this evening, and tonight, that we would have a fantastic dialogue about how we can work well together, from pre-university students all the way to the fellow status of WIE. And in Hong Kong, I must point out that our WIE Affinity Group involve male members that we welcome very much. For example, the chair of the Hong Kong WIE Affinity Group is Mr. David Chen, a gentleman. And he has been so enthusiastic and so much encouraging everybody to join WIE, both men and women. So we are very proud of that, because we feel that we cannot work alone without our male partners. And the partnership is so important that it extends, beyond just women power, especially during, and also we're getting ready for the post-COVID era. The new normal involves men and women. So we would be looking forward, to the sharing of this evening. And I myself is the chair of the Hong Kong section. And we are celebrating the 50th anniversary next year. And we have over 9,000 professional members at the peak period, and we are all very dedicated. And WIE is a very important affinity group, and we all support them very well. So I look forward, to our continued dialogue. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Paulina. I think it has been great to know. I mean, the Hong Kong section is in very good hand with your leaderships, and I think your inspiration for the WIE member has also much great. That I used to also visit you. Yeah, I remember that we have celebrate the inauguration of the WIE. I think 2015 or 16, 15.
2016. I think it was the December 2015.
Yeah. Okay, so that is a great memory. Yeah. Okay, yes. So now Simay, would you give the welcome on behalf of the Turkey section?
Thank you very much, Supavadee and Paulina. So that's really an honor to collaborate with Thailand and Hong Kong section on behalf of Turkey section Women Engineering Affinity Group. This is Simay Akar. I'm currently representing and leading the affinity group in Turkey. So I'm chair, and we actually founded the Women Engineering Affinity Group last year. But Women Engineering Turkey has also, you know, just like history and background and successful achievements in the past. But I feel very honored to connect with Thailand and Hong Kong today and have very valuable, distinguished speakers here in this panel, because actually, you know, like we are IEEE family. So like we have very important topic to discuss today. For women engineering's role in education and STEM education. And also, you know, just like all our stories actually crossed each other. So it's like, you know, like having very important guests here, but actually you all have very important role in my personal story and volunteer journey as well. That's why I feel even more privileged having you all and collaborating you here. So like as Supavadee said, you know, like being a Region 8 Women Engineering Coordinator, and back in 2015, Supavadee was already a Region 10 Coordinator. So how our paths crossed, and we were together in Hong Kong Women in Engineering Affinity Group opening ceremony, ceremony, and you know, just when I was student, you know, like there was a role model that who played really important, you know, place in my life. Şirin, Professor Şirin Tekinay. She's together with us as our distinguished speaker, and also Charlotte, you know, like by serving as like Women in Engineering MGA Global Central Committee, like she's doing fantastic job and making difference in her region, and also, you know, just like in the committee. We also have Kanita from Thailand, and she's just like also, you know, just like making difference in the society and the women engineering there. And having you all here is a privilege. That's why I'm so excited for this discussion. And I would like to thank you for all of you in advance before starting this exciting panel session. Thank you so much, Supavadee. Over to you. I'll get back for the questions again.
Yeah. Okay, so today we have 3 panelists ready to share the great view. Of course, you have already heard from Paulina Chen. So actually, other besides the IEEE Hong Kong section chair, she is also served as the CEO and the principal of the Global Mutual Innovation Technology Consortium. I know, I mean, her experience so far in the various continents, and then also in terms of the industry, and she has contributed a lot in terms of the education as well. Yeah. And next we have the Charlotte Blair. So besides as a WIE Global Committee's member, I think she is the technical support manager of the digital learning electronics products Ansys. Yeah. Okay. And we have a Şirin Tekinay. So she is the chair of the Global Engineering Dean's Council. Okay, so I think we have the excellence panel. So now I think we let's move to the questions. Yeah, so I would like to start the first question. Okay, so when did you first become interested in tech, and was there a moment where you knew you were going to be in STEM? And what did you know about your STEM field when you were a child? So I would like to address maybe the question first to Şirin, and maybe after that next to Paulina, and then to Charlotte. Yeah.
Thank you, Supavadee. I'm delighted to be here. Just have to say, at this point in my career, I have my students, my young colleagues as my role models. So I think Simay was being very modest about where she stands. And it's such a delightful panel for me to contribute to this morning. So good morning from California. Thank you for that question. I can't wait to hear everybody else's answers because frankly, I do not remember. I was barely speaking when I said electronics. I couldn't pronounce my R's back then. So I knew I would be an electronics engineer forever. And I don't even have anyone in my family. I think the trick is to not discourage girls from what they want to do, not the art of encouraging them, but the art of not discouraging them. The two are not the same. With a lot of vocabulary, with a lot of hidden messages, we're bombarding our girls with negative, discouraging messages about STEM. That did not happen to me. I knew whatever discipline I chose, I wanted to go deep. I wanted to become an academic because my father was. Now understood gem of the idea is my father was a professor of civil engineer. So he was an avid spokesman for women's rights and children's rights. So I was lucky enough to be born into a family where I was not discouraged from anything I was interested in. And if we were to leave all our children to pursue their dreams without channelizing them with subconscious actions, they would all go into fields uniformly distributed. But unfortunately, especially girls are discouraged from STEM. And I think we'll come back to this when we talk about education. But I'm living proof, and I would like to pay it forward to all of our students and potential students.
Okay, thank you very much. I think there's like a great sharing insight from Şirin. Yeah. Okay, Paulina, please.
Yes, you know, when I first became interested in technology, that was the time, you know, when I was very good in school, particularly in mathematics and physics and biology. So we were classified in the science class. Now in this class, you know, for my school, there are many projects. The projects that today is like application projects. So when we learned, you know, a particular formula, when we did an experiment in chemistry, we immediately learned how to apply them. That was the uniqueness of my school. So that's how I started. Then I went to university. That was the time, the beginning of communications network, such as, you know, Ethernet, ARPANET, and Internet. So I was very interested to see how am I going to send a signal from A to B without anything, and it reached there, you know, on time and accurately. So I asked, you know, what subject should I be studying, you know, when I need to know how to do that and how to do it well. And they said, oh, electrical engineering. Then I said, okay, where would I study the best electrical engineering in the world? Oh, many, many places. Then I asked, where would I like to go to study? So I have chosen London because of the cross-cultural environment and because of the international flavor and because of the standing of the school. So I decided to apply to Imperial College, and that was the only college I applied to study, and not with 40 others. And I have chosen to study in the UK because none of my family graduated in the UK. They all graduated in the United States, which is very technological oriented countries. And we all live, you know, in the United States. So I wanted to be unique. That is how I start my journey. Then what is STEM? Now, STEM was a new term that it wasn't available when I went to school. And however, at Imperial, we were taught that electrical engineering is not an island. Engineering is not an island. It is an integrated subject that involved many, many disciplines. So in a certain way, you know, it was an interpretation of STEM. Now, then this concept, you know, implemented into my mind. But I must say that my class in WE then, oh, just a few of us, and foreign students also, you know, my girlfriend in Greece, my girlfriend in Iran, my girlfriend in Canada, and just a few of us. And we still keep, and also my girlfriend in India, and we still keep in touch. I think that is the strength, of woman power in technology and in today's terminology STEM. So this is how my journey starts. And then after I graduate, I want to continue doing the research, and I did my PhD also at the same college. And then afterwards, I went back to the United States and started my career with AT&T. When you study WE, when you study communications, it is natural, to work there. From Bell Labs, and then I say, okay, over there, they're multidisciplinary engineering, and from then onwards, it had never stopped, and I never grew tired of being a technologist. I never grew tired to be a STEM person. Now I want to expand, the coverage of STEM, beyond what I have learned so far. So I would continue to talk about later on all the milestones and all the challenges that we are facing from STEM and also in education. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paulina. It was great to hear your story. And as I mentioned earlier, you are quite have a cross-continent, the global experiences. Okay, that Charlotte, how would like to share about this topic?
So can you hear me? Am I coming through? Okay, great. So Paulina, I'm glad to learn from you that you worked at Bell Labs. So I am from the Northeast USA. I am also the Region 1 WIE chair. And so I've been very active in the IEEE, not only WIE, but in the Microwave Theory and Technique Society. So I am in industry. How to get my start? Well, this will probably date myself, but when I was a child, so my parents were not in engineering. They were not engineers. My mom had come over to the US for schooling, and my father is American. And so I grew up in the time when they had TVs with the rat ears, right? And so however you place them is how good the reception was. So that was my first curiosity into engineering, not knowing why, but wanting to know why, if I place the antennas, why am I getting a better reception here? And so I thought my first foray into engineering out of high school, I knew it was electrical engineering. And so the guidance counselor said to me, oh, no, that's communications, go into communications. When I went into communications and I took many of the subjects that we were required, I found that I really loved electromagnetic fields. I loved the wave part of it. And when I was growing up, again, Bell Labs comes to mind because I grew up in New Jersey, and Bell Labs was the place to be. And back then was light waves. That was the technology. So light waves and photonics came out of Bell Labs. And so that was my first touch into engineering for my entire family. So it's encouraging to see, and I'm at a point in my life where I need to give back. I have grandkids that I have 4 kids, and I have 2 daughters who did not go into engineering. So my hope is that my grandkids will go into electrical engineering. So I'm going to be very proactive in the US STEM arena activities, both for the pre-university as well as universities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Charlotte. I think that was very interesting. That you mentioned on your experience. Okay, I think now as we make, we will take off the second question.
It was really exciting to hear, the first answers. And I'll just continue with the second question. So you already mentioned your story, but you can also refer to your inspirational professional story. And what is your favorite thing about your current job? And what do you find the most challenging? I would like to start again from Şirin.
Thank you, Simay. Well, before I go into my favorite things, I can't choose just one thing, by the way, about what I'm currently doing. Since I only talked about my early childhood, let me couch this a little bit with my background. First off, I'm a Jersey girl also. I worked for Bell Labs, and then I'm a tenured professor of New Jersey Institute of Technology. That's where I got my tenure in electrical and computer engineering. And then I went back to my home country of Turkey, where I had the privilege of working with our IEEE section there and meeting with our Simay. And power to all of you. With, of course, I'm a senior member of the IEEE, but one of my favorite things to do with the IEEE is that we have a communications, women in communications engineering. So I don't know if all other sub-disciplines of our community are doing this, but we in Women in Engineering, Women in Communications Engineering actually organize events for junior faculty, for up and coming engineering folks in our field. We have workshops. Let me just put that aside. In my background, my email address changed from .edu to .com to .org to .gov to .edu again. And I think I still have a few of those. So I've had the pleasure and privilege of being an electrical engineer, being a teacher across all three disciplines, university, industry, and government. And all three have different challenges when it comes to diversity in general, and women in particular. So with that longish introduction to what I'm about to say, my involvement with the Global Engineering Deans Council, which I'm serving as the chair now, started almost a decade ago. It's wonderful to be able to have the microphone on the global stage. It's a humongous responsibility, but also extremely rewarding to be able to address a global audience. And like we're doing today, not necessarily live, not necessarily in real time, but when we leave a recording somewhere, when we put a blurb on a website, that stays on and then it keeps coming back to you. So my favorite thing is that reward moment when I know a teenager or a preteen gets back to me with, I want to study this. What do I need to study to build a drone? I want to pilot drones. I want to end world hunger or do something about the climate crisis. And we're on the right track, everyone, because we keep saying, just like Dr. Chan said, integrating engineering into everything else. One of the initiatives that I started, and again, it's one of my favorite things to do, is to talk about STEAM, adding arts to STEM. And a lot of folks will say, what does arts have anything to do with STEM? It's because we need to change our minds, or a lot of our colleagues need to, that STEM cannot be isolated from the rest of our lives if we want to make this planet sustainable, healthy, safe, and enjoyable for all life forms, not even just human life, because we are integrated into the fabric of the globe. There's nothing isolated about it. And of course, you can blame me for seeing all problems like a nail because I have this hammer in my hand. I think it's education and engineering education that's going to make the 2030 vision happen with the Sustainable Development Goals. Our students are extremely motivated, and I'm not saying this with pink glasses on. They're angry and anxious, especially the alpha generation who are coming in now. It's a privilege to work with them. They don't even want us to look at them and say, you're the hope for the future or anything, because they're angry. It's our duty to channelize that anger and anxiety, which is a tremendous source of power and energy, into solutions. And they want to learn about the science that will make things happen. And we'd better not put them in silos, traditional silos, where you study electrical engineering, you study civil engineering. No, you study engineering to solve these multidisciplinary complex problems. So this is extremely exciting to me. By the time I give the flag off to my successors, I hope everything that we've done together will not have my name on anything. It will just be our collective initiative that's accelerating into the future. So that's some of my answer, which I should stop here.
Thank you so much for your answer. And next, I would like to ask the same question to Paulina.
Thank you, Simay. I fully agree, that, my favorite thing, today I am the CEO and the principal of an international think tank. Now, in order to be a think tank, you could not be single dimensional. It would need to be dynamic, and you need to get the right people at the right time, for the right job in order to solve a particular problem. So the first thing to know is, what is the problem? To do that, engineering and technology helps, but it also involves, economics, arts, other science subjects. So today, my favorite thing is to use my background to recognize what is the problems. And at the same time, my favorite thing is to able to integrate various applications. Today, I am working in health tech. Today, I'm working in education technology. Today, I'm working in fintech. And also yesterday, I have been working in smart tech. So all these are my favorite things. And everyone may be solving different problems, but they have common thread. And what is the common thread? The common thread is to be able to understand, is to able to diagnose, and also able to allocate resources. Then being a WIE, I am also very excited to welcome more and more women scientists and engineering coming into these fields, because these fields require a lot of skills that women are great at: analytical skills, project management skills, and also project management skills are very important to the whole success of the project. Is a pivotal success factor, and women does it very well. And so this is my favorite. And I also see many of my younger generations starting to ask me, what are the potentials of being in STEM? What are the potentials of being a woman progressing in STEM? Oh, we have plenty of the stories, plenty of good stories to talk about. And this is very important to continue this conversation, so that, engineering STEM is not a very dry field. It is well beyond proving formulas. The muddy mining. No, it is not. This is through the new platforms such as artificial intelligence, through the new platforms such as AR.
I think the connection.
Yes, I think we're having a little connection issue.
Yeah.
All right, so I think it's we can continue with Charlotte. So, or Paulina, we actually lost you for a while. You're muted.
Yeah, on mute. Yeah.
I want to pick up by saying that the potential of STEM is far beyond picking up to motivate people in today's career development, and also stimulate women who are returning to the field of STEM, science and engineering, and also for the future generation of young women and girls, to go in technology. And this is very exciting to me, and we have plenty to work on, and only together we can build, this very substantial infrastructure, for women in science and technology.
Thank you so much, Paulina. And Charlotte, I will address the same question to you about your favorite thing about your current job and most challenging thing.
Okay, so my most favorite part and the most challenging part of my job as the North America Technical Support Engineer for a very large simulation software company is that it's global. It simply is. The hardest thing is I have reports on the East Coast and the West Coast, so that's a 3-hour time difference, as well as in Asia Pacific, which is my 9.5-hour difference. So the most challenging is load balancing the time. So it's but it's very unique because I enjoy the diversity of the people that I'm meeting and all of the engineers that I have. The one thing that I find frustrating is getting more candidates, getting more job applicants. I have several openings for students in electromagnetics. Again, I go electromagnetics and circuit signal processing. Again, the delightful thing about my job is all of these new applications. People are doing simulations so that they can actually physically realize their models. And so I see everything, you know, that all the entrepreneurs are creating. And I can't find people to help me. And who do I blame? Do I blame, you know, is it the educational system? No. Is it industry? No. It really is, you know, the subject matter is a graduate level subject matter. So I said to the education committee, please have more than 1 or 2 semesters of electromagnetic fields so that I can have more candidates to hire to support my tools so that people can go on to create new ideas. And well, and the next thing is then I'm a woman. I want to have more women candidates. Do I see that? No, I don't. Of all the candidates I get, I do. It may sound cliche, but the men are applying for these positions who are qualified. They just hear engineer and they hear electrical engineer, but they don't see the electromagnetics. They don't see signal integrity. They don't see ADAS or ER. They just see engineering and they will apply. Whereas the women, they are very detailed. They are very exact. And unless they've had a course of electromagnetics or have touched a project, they're not applying. I almost have to go out and look through my network to see, hey, are you interested? You know, I have an opening here. I see that your, you know, your thesis or your dissertation is on this topic. Would you be interested in joining? You actually have to pull them out of the woodworks. And again, I think it's something that is systemic in society, and it's very frustrating in my job because I need help. I need to hire people, and the women are just not having their hands on. So both, again, one of the challenging things, but it is frustrating. I do want to be part of that. I'm trying to say, hey, let us get more females. I mean, the statistics are that there are more women in the universities, but are they in STEM or science? No, they're not in STEM or science. And if they are in biomedical. I'm in applications where you're trying to help other people understand the tools and the results. So, you know, I find that my women engineers are more proficient at that than the male members. The male members are results oriented. Oh, you wanted the S parameter or you wanted the Smith chart, a result to be like this, here it is. Whereas the women will take a step back and make sure that their customers understand why it's not at Z0 or why it's not in its inner chart. They take the time to help explain, so they're more on the teach level. So I fully embrace that we need to get more women into technology.
Charles, thank you so much for the answer as well. We'll continue with the next question. So I'll actually give the floor to Supavadee. Supavadee, over to you.
Okay, thank you. I think we are, I think just 30 minutes now, we all have learned. I believe that you are the great model of the women in STEM, or of your experience. Yeah. And of course, we learn through your inspiration, your success, and then also the challenge. And of course, we are working towards all the challenge. So now, I think the next question would be like, how would you concretely engage the girl in science related field of study and career globally? Right, because now you are like a very success and like a model. So how could you send all those inspiration message, and how you could support the girl in science? We will start with Şirin again.
Thank you very much. This is such a multifaceted question. I would like to give some concrete examples of what we've been up to, especially as the Global Engineering Deans Council, because diversity in engineering is both one of our core values and one of our strategic objectives with measurable outcomes. We're proceeding along two pathways. One of them is putting more role models in front of girls and reaching out to girls who are so inclined, but somehow discouraged from choosing STEM fields, just like Charlotte said. We have a book series, Rising to the Top is the name of the book. Global engineering women leaders tell their journeys in the various journeys. We don't call the sections of the book chapters, but journeys. So we started with the first volume. Due to a lot of demand, we did the second volume, and then we decided there are cultural differences that we need to consider for women in engineering, especially in STEM in general. So we have the Africa edition coming up, India edition coming up, Middle East and North Africa edition coming up. So the more we do about putting role models in the spotlight for girls to see, the more we realize it's really not women who need to be role models and reach out to girls, but the whole engineering community. We need to change the professional identity or the perception thereof of our profession, because otherwise, in my quest to put more role models up there, I insisted on women inventors being celebrated, for instance, which is lacking. Nobody knows the inventor of the dishwasher is a woman, for example, or a lot of the products we're using around our house. For some reason, when you say an inventor, you think of a certain image, which is, I don't want to propagate the cliche, but not women. So we do all of this, and one of our electronics firms, the global giant manufacturer of electronics, was delighted that there are women inventors. They want to increase their diversity in their innovation team. And I serve on their advisory board, and they made this big, beautiful Hall of Fame women inventors. But then when you don't change the minds of folks, you know, a lot of people, men and women, will stand in front of this beautiful collage and try to pick which one is the prettiest. So you would never do that with a collage of men who have invented things and changed our lives. So the appreciation goes elsewhere. We need to change the mentality, the professional identity of the whole discipline or the disciplinary family of engineering. And how we do that is we need to implement gender action plans, both at schools and colleges of engineering and at employers. For example, it was a wonderful point Charlotte just brought up about recruiting more women. We all know it doesn't happen by saying, let's increase the number of women on our workforce. There is the paradox of gender equality index being lower, and then more girls going into schools and colleges of engineering in those areas. Why? Because STEM is perceived as such a masculine, therefore respectable area. So to get respect, to get independence, to get a little more financial freedom, those precious few self-confident girls are going into engineering in those areas, and not in Northern Europe, for example, where the gender equality index is higher. Why should they go into a harder and masculine area? They don't need to be more respectable. So it's such a paradox. You would think in countries where gender equality index is lower, fewer women would go into STEM, but it's the opposite. So it all stems from this professional identity that we need to change altogether. And I'm delighted to hear we have male colleagues who are taking the leadership to change this perception, change the professional identity of engineering. There is absolutely nothing masculine or feminine about engineering. We know the problems. We all have our creative minds, souls, motivation, whatever is needed to solve them. The more diversity, the sooner the solutions will come. So again, 2 avenues of action. 1, role models, role models, role models, and no discouragement. And 2, along with male, female, all of us in engineering need to change the professional identity of our area. Thank you.
Well, that's yeah, when I listen to you, I just feel I learn all over again. So I think, like, of course, role model is extremely important, and your aspect on diversity also, I mean, bringing out, I mean, a lot of the effectiveness, yeah, through pursuing all the STEM inside. Yeah, okay, Paulina, what are your idea on this?
I'm glad that we are all role models, among our communities. And I also believe that we should start STEM as early as possible in the pre-university age. If, for example, in Hong Kong, we do that in 3 ways. Number 1, we approach it we go to pre-universities, all the schools. There are 4,000 schools in Hong Kong, and there are plenty of young women studying there, and many of them are not aware of the availability that they could choose, and also they could develop the potentials in liking of science and technologies. So for this case, we go to schools, introduce, for example, robotics workshop, a STEM workshop, so that younger women would be able to know, this is could be the future, and STEM and science is not so dry. So they engage and very excited about that. Another area that we also do, for pre-university student society, is to introduce them to coding. For example, Python, we do so many Python classes, to many schools, both for young women and young boys. But likely, it's interestingly enough, the classes are over 70% are young women who are interested in coding because of the analytical skill, because of the creativities, and they have the patience to do so. So these are the attributes, of that. And then another area for beyond the pre-university students, I'm talking about the university students. There are so many, public and private colleges and universities in Hong Kong, and they are co-educated. And women, actually in many science and technology field, especially in Hong Kong, there are women in medical fields. There are many women in bioscience field, and also in a computer science field. So they are encouraged and also motivated that they can really develop into the great potential and also the current and future leaders in the field. And women are also very open in mind. Computer scientists, physicists are working in financial institutes, and they are developing their skills into applications. And then the third area, I find that how to really concrete, plan, for example, in the Hong Kong section, is to gather women already in the mid-career. I think this is very important that they are all role models and they are themselves mentors, to the younger generation of women and men. And being a mentor is a very motivating factor. One would need to continue to develop oneself, be up to date with skill set and development and technology, and at the same time develop more understanding and leading, to the current and new generations. So these are the concrete engagement work that has been done in Hong Kong, and also collaborations. Collaborations is important. Collaborate in industries. Industry have many women, and collaborate with academia, and being in IEEE. IEEE is a professional bridge, and we should play that role, to link, the industries, the academia, and the public and private sectors. And we identify women and men who are very passionate, enthusiastic to help us continue develop the sphere of innovation and entrepreneurship in technologies, and no longer an island of isolation. And thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Paulina. So of course, I believe that your role in engaging the pre-university student, I mean, everything has to start from there. And of course, I truly also educational activity has really strong initiative on pre-university as well, like tryengineering.org. Okay, so I'm glad that you have the very active activity to encourage, I mean, girl and younger to pursue in engineering. So now, Charlotte, what are your ideas on this?
So I definitely agree that we should have lots of role models and mentoring and collaboration. One concrete event that we have in Region 1 is the WIE Forum East. And we've held many robotics and coding classes for the community. And what I noticed is, yes, the predominantly boys that join these classes, but that's where it stops. And it seems as if we should not only reach out to the individual who is interested, the child, the student, or whether they're pre-university or university. We could kind of go one step above that and educate the parents. Again, circling back, I did not have engineering parents, so I could not reach to them for help. And some of these students may be in the same situation. They don't have parents that can say, hey, how does the drone work? Okay, how do I code this? Can I get this robot? Can you help me with this? I think that may be an action item that we can, and something new to try out, is to get the parents involved. If we look at role models, we go to the schools, again, they starting in grade school, junior high, or high school, they're going to say, pick a track. Do you want to take cooking classes, or do you want to take this advanced math? And if you're a female and you're a little bit more on the quiet side, and you see that your cooking teacher is this very nice woman, and she was very grandmotherly, and you're like, oh, that, you feel for her. But then on the other hand, your advanced math student is a male, and maybe he is just very partial. You as that female, would you choose the math, or would you choose the cooking class? It's just because you don't identify. So we do need to have role models as well. We need role models. We need collaboration. We just need everything. But the inspiring message that I want to end with is we need a lot of things, and we need everybody. And then the only thing we really can do is just put your hand up and just step out. Step out and reach out and join something, join people who are interested in activities that you are. And we as role models may have to push out and actually get people. With my recruiting, I said I reached out to my network because I could pull people out. Do you want to join? I see you have the abilities and skills to do this. So maybe we need to be a little bit more proactive and say just one person, because we can't. It's our initiative is great, it's global, but it's going to take a lot of us. But if we can just reach one person and just say to that individual, hey, did you ever try this? And it doesn't have to be in your area of expertise. Children on the grade school and the high school level, I cannot say electromagnetics to. I cannot say fields to. But I can relate to them through the applications and through their cell phones and through ADAS and the artificial intelligence. That they'll understand because they've heard it. But there's got to be a way to reach out and just say, hey, I want you to join me. Are you interested in this and this exposure? Because we can't assume that the parents are going to. So with that, IEEE is a great foundation. I started when I was a student at NJIT. I did my doctorate studies there with Dr. Nevers. So when you said NJIT, I was like, go NJIT. So you just need one person to push you out there and say, join IEEE, you need to do this. And that's part of the reaching out. Again, I thank Simay and everyone. Thank you for asking me to join this panel.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Charlotte. And I believe what you said is, of course, relatively true. Yeah. So the collective effort is important. Our proactiveness is also important. And I guess that this is like a venue that we are all joining as the world is so small, right? And I think even we think that IEEE is mainly only several 100,000, but still, I mean, when we gather together, we know, oh, we are on a similar background and also maybe like used to be alumni of the same institution. Again, that is exciting. Yeah. Okay. Now I think we would come toward the almost the final question, right? Simay, please start the next question.
Thank you, Supavadee. I mean, IEEE is a small and big family, like a global family. How connected we are, it's really beautiful. And we actually touch each other's life as well. And we have so many, because we share the same vision and mission, and we have so many common things, and which helps us to grow together. So this is really beautiful how we are connected. So that's actually a very good transition between your highlights from the previous question and my next question. You highlighted, like the putting role models and, just like, and having a perception for the professional identity. So like, I would like to ask how to engage women in STEM career and what is the role of the education. So we'll also start again with Şirin.
Thank you, Simay. Well, there are plans in place at some colleges and schools offering programs in STEM, which is a bold look at what it has been and the courage to change it radically. We know that the traditional freshman introductory year and then the theoretical classes, and by the time you take any disciplinary classes or labs, it's your third year is not working because with the silver lining of the pandemic, we should not let the good pandemic go to waste because it has transitioned all of the traditional faculty out of their comfort zones, which had been more difficult than moving a mountain. In a few days, we had to go online. Not to say all online education is better than face-to-face unless it's done right. It isn't. But we're closer with our students and incoming students, potential students out there by going to platforms, putting the experienced STEM teachers on those platforms where our potential students are. So now it's an exciting time where engineering and STEM in general education has changed. And the open access to democratized access to information has changed what schools and colleges should be doing. We can't just be places where we expect students to show up and we will somehow transfer information to them. No, they don't need that. The experience of being in school is doing teamwork, is discussing, is critical thinking. It's not experimenting only, but it's also experiencing. And they can't get that anywhere else. When we do that, we also connect engineering with the rest of our campuses, STEM with the rest of our campuses. For example, I think this was mentioned, we need to make sure that everyone else on campus speaks a little complexity, a little computing, a little AI, a little data. These are survival skills for the 21st century human being, not just STEM people. So we usually made the STEM people who are perceived as these isolated eggheads because they do some ununderstandable crazy things to the rest of the world. Well, take some humanity classes. You need some electives in the general culture. Of course, yes, we do, but it goes both ways. Now, everyone else has to speak a little STEM to survive in the 21st century. We all saw what happened with, we're seeing what was happening with the pandemic, right? Without STEM education, how terrible and self-destructive the world can get. So the thing that education needs to, the education system needs to turn around and do is to cater to the absorption pattern of the students, the learning pattern of the students, where students and potential students meet in order to make things, not only learn things, but they share and generate information also. So I no longer perceive myself as a teacher, but I'm the coordinator of knowledge, and it includes generation of knowledge. So we all need to shift our mindset, which is one of the most difficult things to do. But luckily, the pandemic has forced us out of our comfort zone to do that, to go online. And when we do go online, it's a different world. We need to do things differently. So everything we're doing to evolve education is actually helping diversity in STEM, because it's leveling the playing field. We're democratizing access to knowledge, and teamwork is a must, which we all know does not work without diversity. So I'm cautiously optimistic.
That's really good to hear your thoughts and how optimistic you are, and definitely, you know, like we have these survival skills and you know, just like how we actually proceed with this education foster, so we'll have more diversity in STEM. Thank you very much for the highlights, and we'll continue with Paulina for your remarks on this question.
Yes, I see education is playing a very important role, you know, to be the glue and to be the integrator of various subjects, of various expertise, you know, of learners and teachers and experts, you know, working together. Now, I also want to bring it out from the industry's perspective, because in industries, you know, if there is a need to be solved, we need to satisfy particular customer needs and clients. I really don't, you know, pay too much attention of what is the particular expertise of an individual on a team, because we all need to understand each other. We all need to complement each other and get a balanced, you know, solution, deliverables to the clients. And I think this is the beauty of education. And then the second point I want to talk about is the boardroom. Nowadays, you know, across the world, the boardroom is full of STEM people. And this is the fringe benefit of the pandemic, because technology is touching every aspect, you know, of the industry, public and private sector. And leaders and managers and board of directors, no matter what, you know, they have to use some kind of technology. They also need to make decisions using some applications of technologies, so that immediately, you know, improve and increase and empower science and technology into the C-suite and beyond the C-suite in the boardroom. Now, for women, we are also giving a lot of attention because in some countries, that is a compulsory rate that certain women needs to be appointed in order to a very important position. Now, we being women and we being we have to pay special attention that we are promoted, we are getting appointed, not because only we are a female, because we want to be considered, we want to be appointed because we are females of substance and we bring added value to whatever we are going forward to, so that we can proceed and with the sustainable development goal, as mentioned, by the United Nations, we are major contributors. Now, this is education. Education consists of system engineering, consists of research and development, consists of teamwork, and more importantly, that also convey self-confidence. I think women, we have to really pay attention that we all know quite a bit. We are of substance. We have to be confident enough to deliver, to present, our ideas clearly and precisely so that we can be heard loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paulina. Yes, we can be heard loud and clear. That was a really good point. And this is also important to highlight, as education helps us to break the glass ceiling at the sea level. And, this is again, all these, just achievements are all, we are achieving many things, including sustainable development goal, and woman is really a change maker in this level. Thank you so much, Paulina. And I'll address the same question to Charlotte, to you.
So I'm in industry, so I can just only elaborate a little bit on education. Because of the pandemic, unfortunately, we did embrace the online, education path. And with that, we have these Ansys innovation courses, which exposes, people, the general public, to different applications that our tools would support. And so that's our educational contribution to society. And we have globally, we have hundreds and thousands of kids. It's an initiative that we only started last year because we wanted to have our presence out there. And it's informative videos. We know what the customers are looking for. They're not looking for steps and PowerPoints. It has to be application oriented. I love that. And Paulina, I love that. We are trying to educate people. We're not educating just men or women, but we're not only educating men and women, we are educating qualified men and women engineers. That's what's important to get us forward, is qualified. We are not a number, and we have to stand firm because you know what, the perception is still there that as women approach that the C-suite, oh, how did she get there? It's not on her intellect. It's always, it could be this or it could be that, and we need to go and fight back against that. The thing is we are qualified. We have the confidence. And again, I have to go back. We have to do those source lists. We have to do the presentation. We have to show our confidence and know we are worthy to go and step forward. So again, just put your hand up and just join in.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. And just like we're educating qualified women and men, and just like we are changing, and these are no longer survival skills as essential skills, and just like education will help us. So for the last question, I will hand over to Supavadee again.
Yeah, I think we have a very enjoyable, I think already in 1 hour. So I think we could soon to conclude these meetings. Yeah, I think for the final question, I would like to ask our panelists, and I think also to our audience. Yeah, so what would be your inspirational message you'd like to give to young girls or to inspire them to pursue the career? Okay, so Şirin, please.
Thank you so much. In a nutshell, life depends on it. To open that up a little bit, the incoming students to universities, to colleges and schools are the alpha generation. They have all the traits of Generation Z, which are, of course, to be born into the internet era, to be globally connected, to have witnessed a war on terror across the globe, to truly have a global culture. And on top of all of these traits, they have activism. They're turning this connectivity into taking action. And all we can do is really to help channelize that energy. The motivation is there just to look at the face of the planet, not show them a list of sustainable development goals alone, but just to have them look at what's happening on the planet with wildfires, with floods, with pandemics, with poverty, with hunger. I don't want to end on a pessimistic note, but there is plenty that's already motivating them. They're already worried about. And frankly, I don't expect the next generation to worry about men, women, or race, color when they join forces to do anything about saving the planet and saving life. We just need to not bombard girls or any other segment of the society, no matter how you dice and slice it. Discourage anyone against going into realizing their full potential. So again, girls, boys, everywhere, life depends on it. Get into STEM. We need you to solve the problems that we're leaving the earth to you. Sorry, but please, let's fix it. Thanks.
Okay, so thank you very much. I can agree more with you on this. Yeah. Okay, yeah, Paulina, what would be your message?
STEM is today and STEM is tomorrow. STEM is a must. First, we must equip ourselves with the necessary tools and skill sets so that we can really exercise our full potential. Be confident, be innovative, and be creative. We can do that. And STEM, would not go further without us. STEM will not go further without you. Why? Because the applications is important, the bridge is important, the communications is important. And we are the only one, men and women, young men and young women, are the people to do that. And teamwork is a necessity. Cross-disciplinary, cross-cultural, the world is small and yet very big. That is plenty of room for everybody. So we need partnership, we need alliance, and we shouldn't be selfish. Only sharing, we can make a better world. This is my message to all.
Thank you very much, Paulina. It's quite inspirational message you have to us. Yeah, and Charlotte, please.
And so like I was saying, and I agree, life needs us, but life is enjoyable. So go ahead, get educated, understand, and join life. Enjoy it. Enjoy the learning and the understanding and the amazing things that we can offer. So the first thing you have to do, like I've said many times, is just put your hand up and just step in and join it. Just be a part of it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we have the very three powerful messages, very inspiring. Yeah, so I think we are now come to the concluding part. Yeah, so I would like to ask, like, if the audience would you like to share any message about this, the inspiration about to STEM, and of course to girl and then to boys, and then yeah. So those who want to pursue the STEM, yeah. Okay, maybe our vice chair, Kanita, vice chair. She's a vice chair of the WIE Thailand Affinity Group, and of course she is the young professional. So how do you have any outlook about the STEM? And yeah.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. That was actually a very hard question, like for me, for a young professional like me, who is just in the beginning of the career. But if you're asking me about being in the STEM, it was since my little girl, because my dad is a mathematics teacher, and I got all of this from him. And also my mom was a nurse, and I am also grew up in a hospital, being a kid running around the hospital and playing with doctors and nurses and seeing everything. It's kind of like all of the surrounding environment while I'm being a child is all science and medical. So that's why I love science and medical since I was a kid, and I grew up loving doing experiments and everything, and robots and computer programming, things like that. Growing up being a pharmacist and trying to pursue a PhD in engineering. So right now I'm kind of like both things, being a pharmacist and I am also an engineer. I think I would say it's not about gender, it's about the attitude. So if you think science is important, science is like something that's changed the world, and science is like a special thing in your life, you should pursue it. Doesn't matter if you are a girl or a boy or any other optional gender. Science is just for everyone. And if everyone knows science, everyone being in STEM, you can all like create a better world. And that's the message from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, it's good to have a view also, like you are maybe the younger generations. Yeah. And maybe Andigo, what would you like to share any message to the audience?
Thank you for letting me participate in this wonderful debate. It was very nice to hear everything, because I identified myself with all of what you told, what I heard. It was very nice. And after your messages, I don't know what I can add, because you told everything what I think, what I believe. So just pursue your dreams, so I don't know what I can say after Şirin, after Paulina, Charlotte, and Kanita, because they told everything. So it's very difficult to add anything else, because I think it's very important to emphasize that it's not the girl or boys, it's for everyone. It's and we women, we need the men, and the men need the woman, because the sharing, it's everything based on sharing information and sharing everything, as Paulina said. So I don't know what I can add more, but I'm very delighted to be here, because I identified myself with you, and it is very it's a great pleasure for me, because I cannot find so many times this feeling with speaking about hearing the same feelings and beliefs. It's for me, it's not usual. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anigo, and thanks for being with us and sharing your thoughts. Okay, I also saw Bosena, Misra, Aishwaya, and Shabana. I'm not sure if any one of you would like to share any message. I think we come towards to the end of this. Hi, Bosena. So Bosena, our past global WIE Blair. She also
nice.
one of my inspirators.
So nice to see everyone, and good morning from University of Kansas, the heart of the United States. And I always attend and jump to those STEM panels, and I always learn something. Today, I wanted to compliment. Today, those three panelists stated messages in such a beautiful, absolutely remarkable way. So I want to recognize in the highest possible way every aspect of that important issue has been said already. So to add something to that, I always say science is the strongest when science works together. So that was very beautifully, collaboration was stated very beautifully. And today, this semester, I teach the course, my area of research is stochastic adaptive control. I teach the course, and you would never believe every single student in this class represents different science, but not only, also social sciences. Somebody beautifully also said, open, be inclusive, open the door to those humanities. And I can see IEEE changing so beautifully also opens the door for humanities. For the first time in the history, I'm a mathematician. I've heard that father was mathematician. I am mathematician by all education, and because I believe in critical and logical thinking, and this is the most powerful. And then I can apply to every possible area we've heard medicine and so on. So this is but I wanted just to say inclusiveness is so important now. Be open and say that it's for everyone. There is room in the classroom, but also in research and also in everything what we do project. So for the first time, mathematician at my university of 30,000 students was invited to join the board of humanities. Now, can you imagine this gorgeous, beautiful inclusiveness? They want to hear from scientists, those hard scientists, and vice versa, and engineers have to be so beautifully open. So here it was stated also communication. Communication, I teach using my 5 favorite C's as tools. Everything was said by panelists. Curiosity, creativity was emphasized so beautifully, and also communication, connections between all, because complexity of the world today is absolutely unbelievable. I do stochastic because I teach good understanding of randomness, and then collaboration. Paulina emphasized so beautifully collaboration. So everything today was said. But what is different from other panels that I attended, that it was stated so powerfully and so beautifully. So I made even notes, the way how you emphasize, the way how you promote STEM education. I salute to you, and I am glad that I joined you. Thank you so much for organizing, and panelists, thank you for sharing this incredibly beautifully at the level of the highest level stated messages. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Bosena. So to give such a very strong and powerful message, as always, I know you are very strong supporter of the STEM education. Yeah, and I think we have Aishawa, also our very active young professional from Singapore. Yeah.
Thank you, for Dr. Supavadee, for the opportunity to say a few comments. It's always lovely to hear from this community, very inspiring, motivating. So I would just like to echo what was said in the panel, and probably these would be my key takeaways, that we always become what we see. So having such role models like all of you and hearing from you is going to be a great motivation for more young men and women to follow through in STEM. And I also really liked the discussion on how global challenges are becoming more and more complex and also multidisciplinary, and standing on the shoulders of giants like all of y'all. I'm sure the young ones going into STEM are going to build on knowledge, interconnect, and bring about more multidisciplinary solutions. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aish. It's always nice to see your activeness. Yeah. Okay, Shabana.
Hi, hello everyone.
Hi.
Yes, it's a pleasure to listen to all of you, and I'm already inspired for spreading this STEM education, and these events are very helpful actually for keeping the inspiration and motivation alive to spread the STEM and to expand the STEM. And presently, I'm looking forward here at Saudi Arabia in IEEE Saudi Arabia section to establish the educational activities and spread the STEM education in Saudi Arabia, because it's a challenge for girls and for women here to grab the education in engineering sciences, and it's really a challenge for boys. It's not a big problem, but I'm facing this challenge here, and I hope that with the help of all of you, all the people who are ready to help me at any point of time, we will be able to spread this STEM. And it was really an inspiring session. I agree with all the audience who has got good motivation from all of you, and from your inspiring activities and the role you are playing to expand the STEM education. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Shabana is also very active to engage the education activity, okay, in India. Yeah, thank you, Shabana. And I think last we have Miss Jura.
Okay, so good day, everyone. I'm Miss Tura from Nigeria. So first of all, I'm very happy that I have to be part of these people. Like a lot of you, what you shared is very, very inspiring. On my part, I used to be the WIE chair of my students branch in 2014, and then currently I'm the YP Nigerian vice chair. So a lot from you. I think my message to the youth, especially those who are coming to study STEM, would be that they shouldn't be afraid to start, and then they should be very open-minded. Most times when I started into engineering, I was afraid of programming, but few years into it, I enjoy it and I'm doing it so. So I think my advice for them would be that they should seek out mentors, let people guide them, and then they should be very open-minded. And also on the part of one of the panelists, I think Paulina shared that STEM is the future, STEM is now. So I see that STEM is a critical thing that will help us solve challenges in terms of poverty, in terms of hunger, especially in Africa, because I'm from Nigeria. All these are challenges, and we need the young girls to have mind, to be brave enough and be bold enough to solve all these challenges. So thank you very much. I'm very happy. I'm very excited to be part of this. And I'm very glad I have new friends. I have good people that I can look up to. So thank you very, very much.
Okay, thank you very much for joining, and I appreciate your effort. In the Africa continent. Yeah. Okay, I think we will come to the conclude session. I would hand it to Simay for closing.
Thank you so much, Supavadee. Thank you so much, everyone. It was such insightful panel session, and it was, all the messages were so powerful, so inspiring, all your words, all your thoughts. Thank you so much for all the, just like all your time here. And also there are so many takeaways, like even in this 1 hour, a little bit more than an hour, we learned a lot from you. I mean, you are just like such powerful role models, as we all highlighted here. And also it was really great to hear from everyone who was here, who was attending at this moment to, thank you so much for your engagement, because you're also role models in this community. And that's really your thoughts also really powerful. And I think, just as the end of this panel session, I would like to just ask if everybody's fine to capture a memory from the day. As like we can have a group picture, if you're comfortable to turn on your cameras for a second. Wonderful. Okay. Because, and we can memorize this day, and hopefully we'll come together soon, one day sooner. So like, Mr. Ra, are you also comfortable to, shall we wait you?
Hello? Yeah, I'm not in a conducive environment. That's why I won't put on my camera.
Okay, no worries. We have you here. Thank you so much for just like information for the information. So I'll capture two picture. The first one. 1, 2, 3. Just one and another. And the second one. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, one more. 1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you so much. I really love all the thoughts and how beautifully diverse we are in this session. So we have a great representation. Thank you so much for everything. So this is the end of the session. We'll conclude.
Thank you so much.